Once upon a time, there was a young man named Charles, who had everything one could dream of. Born into a wealthy family, he was used to the finest things in life. He had the best clothes, the best food, and the best education. Charles had never experienced hardship. He took it for granted that his future was set, that all he needed to do was continue his path, and everything would fall into place. Yet as much as he had, Charles was also a man who often felt disconnected from the world around him. He had no empathy for those less fortunate. His life was easy, and so he believed that the struggles of others were their own fault. He would pass by the workers cleaning the streets, the maids in the hotels, the people who served him at restaurants, and all he saw was the difference between their world and his own. They were poor, uneducated, and to him almost invisible. One day, after a long meeting with business partners, Charles was walking through the lobby of his luxury apartment building when he saw her. A woman in her mid-40s, dressed in an old uniform, mopping the floor. Her face was tired, and she was bent over her work with a stoop that seemed to reflect years of labor. Her name was Maria, and she had been cleaning the building for over 10 years. Maria had never once spoken to Charles, nor had she ever dared to look him in the eye. She knew her place. That day, Charles was feeling particularly self-important. He had just closed a huge deal and felt proud of himself. As he walked past Maria, he noticed her dirty, worn-out shoes. For some reason, at that moment, the thought that someone like her could be so low triggered something in Charles. He couldn't resist the urge to humiliate her. With a sneer on his face, he said loudly, "Maybe if you spent a little less time cleaning and a little more time learning, you wouldn't be stuck here." Maria didn't respond. She simply looked down, almost as if she had heard those words 1,000 times before. But that didn't matter to Charles. He felt superior. He walked away, satisfied with himself. But as he moved, something gnawed at him. It wasn't guilt. It wasn't regret. It was something else. He didn't know it then, but it would change the course of his life. A week passed, and Charles went on with his usual routine. He felt the emptiness of his arrogance, but he was too proud to admit it. Then, one evening, his father, who had always been his guide in business, invited him for a dinner. As they ate, his father said something that struck him deeply. "Son, wealth is not about money. It's about how you treat people who have nothing. It's about giving others the chance to grow." Charles scoffed at the idea. He was in business to succeed, not to give handouts. But then his father said something that made him pause. "You are a reflection of the people you surround yourself with. You may have wealth, but you'll never have respect if you only associate with people who bow to you." For the first time, Charles realized that his success came at the cost of his character. His father's words echoed in his mind, and he couldn't shake off the thought of Maria, the woman he had humiliated. He wanted to believe he was different, that his life had meaning, but deep down he felt empty. The next morning, Charles decided to do something he never thought he would do. He went back to the building where Maria worked. She was there, cleaning the same floors as always, wearing the same tired expression. Charles approached her slowly. His heart pounded, and for a moment he wanted to turn away. But he knew this was the moment he had to face. He took a deep breath and said, "I'm sorry for what I said the other day. It was wrong of me." Maria looked at him surprised, but said nothing. There was no need for words. Charles, in that moment, knew he couldn't change the past, but he could try to change his future. He asked her if she would teach him something about the work she did every day. Maria smiled softly. It wasn't a smile of forgiveness, but one of understanding. She took him to a corner of the building and showed him how to clean a floor properly, how to respect the small tasks that no one ever noticed. "Life isn't about the grand gestures," Maria said. "It's about the small things we do day by day. It's about treating everyone with dignity, no matter their role." Charles left the building that day a changed man. He had learned a lesson that would stay with him forever. He started applying this new mindset to every part of his life. He began to treat everyone he encountered with kindness, from the workers at his office to the servers at restaurants. He started listening more, learning more, and giving back to those who had less. The changes were small at first, but they grew over time. Months passed, and Charles found himself in a situation where he needed to make a difficult decision. He had the chance to close another major business deal that would bring him even more wealth. But it would come at the cost of hurting a group of people who depended on him. In the past, he would have made the decision without hesitation. But now, with the lessons he had learned, he made the right choice. He turned down the deal, choosing to protect the people who needed him. In time, his reputation grew, not just as a businessman, but as a person who treated others with respect. He gained the admiration of his peers and the trust of those who worked for him. He began to mentor others, passing on the lessons he had learned. As for Maria, she continued to work in the building, but Charles never looked at her the same way again. He saw her for who she truly was, a woman of dignity and strength, someone who, through her simple acts of service, had taught him the greatest lesson of all: that true wealth is measured by the kindness and respect you show others, not by the money you accumulate. Charles's life was transformed. He found fulfillment not in the numbers on his bank account, but in the relationships he built and the lives he touched. And as he stood at the top of his success, he realized that the most valuable lessons often come from the most unexpected places. If there's one thing Charles learned, it's that your actions towards others will define you far more than your wealth or status. What can we learn from this story? That everyone, no matter their station in life, has something to teach us. And the best way to succeed is to treat everyone with respect, to help when you can, and to always be willing to learn from those you may least expect. So next time you encounter someone who may seem less than or below you, remember, they may have a lesson to teach you that could change your life. Take the time to listen, to understand, and to grow. Who knows? It might be the most important decision you ever make. Reflect on your own life. Who can you help today? How can you treat someone with more respect? And remember, true success doesn't come from what you have. It comes from who you are. If this story resonated with you, take a moment to reflect. Maybe share it with someone who might need to hear it, or subscribe for more inspiration. Together, let's make kindness and respect a part of our daily actions.